Hey guys, welcome back to the Mark Charming Show. So many news and so little time. So guys, in recent news, we all know that the Haitian president was recently assassinated. But guys, how about we backtrack and see how all this went down? CNN is going to pretty much explain to you guys from their angle and all the information they got what happened. And I'm going to show you some other clips as well from other people to kind of explain to you guys what's all the news that's going around and what people are also saying as well. Let's watch this clip from CNN pretty much explaining the whole assassination.
Gunfire echoing through Port-au-Prince after the president was assassinated. Then, just 36 hours after a group of more than 24 Colombians and 2 Haitian Americans allegedly killed the president, most would either be detained or declared dead. This is how that happened, according to a source with knowledge of the operation to track them down. Nighttime video from around the time of the president's death quickly went viral, where you could hear a suspect claiming there was a DEA operation ongoing. Later, a convoy of 5 cars can be seen leaving the area with ease, but down the road, a trap was being set. As the convoy traveled down Kenscoff Road, a roadblock was ready. Heavily armed security forces would not let them pass without a fight. Arriving and seeing they couldn't go any further, the convoy stops, part of which you can see here. Our source says the suspects jumped out and saw this building across the road. They raced toward it, immediately taking the stairs to the 2nd floor. About 12 hours later, after baking in 90-plus degree Haitian heat, authorities throw tear gas in front of the building. It's enough to force negotiations, and the Colombians inside eventually send out 4 people, including this man, one of 2 Haitian Americans whom authorities have detained. He's joined by the other Haitian American and 2 Haitian hostages, a pair of police officers who were at the president's house. Just about 100 meters up the hill from the building lies the Taiwan embassy. Our source thinks...
So, I never knew that there was a Taiwan embassy in Haiti. Did you? I didn't know. And what was the benefit for these guys to kind of run to the Taiwan embassy? What was they going to do? So let's listen some more and see what the plot was.
Our source thinks the Colombians went there because it wasn't an easy place for police to enter, given its diplomatic immunity. In order to get all the way here to the embassy, though, they had to walk through a pretty residential neighborhood, and according to our source, someone tipped off authorities that this group of heavily armed men was here. When they arrived at the embassy, they found a largely empty building except for 2 security guards, whom they tied up. Security forces quickly surrounded the embassy and then turned their attention back to the building below, where they believed a few suspects remained. It was time to go in.
So guys, based off all this information that we have so far, it don't seem like these guys had a legitimate plan to escape at all. They pretty much was trying to figure out and scramble how to get away. They didn't have a real escape plan. So it leads me to think that these people was probably either sabotaged or, I don't know, something is really fishy about what's going on. Who kills the president and don't have an escape plan? So the 8 guys that they're looking for, we must really find these guys, because they must be the real key holders on what's really going on or knows a lot of information. Because how did these guys escape but these guys didn't? So guys, let's figure out how they escaped this Taiwan embassy. This should be good.
A small assault team went in on the ground floor and were met with fierce fire that you can hear from the handful of Colombians that were still inside. The hour-long firefight shattered windows, scarred concrete ceilings and walls, and in the end, the government says at least 3 Colombians died in the fighting. The next day, with Taiwan's permission, authorities went into the embassy. Our source says authorities checked CCTV cameras and found nearly a dozen Colombians in a room who ended up giving up without more fighting. Nearly a half dozen still haven't been found.
So guys, supposedly this Christian Emmanuel Sanon is supposed to be the mastermind behind this whole assassination. I find that hard to believe, for the simple fact that this guy was pretty much broke. He was in debt. He filed for bankruptcy. And for some reason, he had this delusional thought that once they killed the president, they was going to inject him to be the new leader of Haiti. I can't make this up. This is what they said the plot was. Let's listen some more.
This Florida resident who supposedly wanted to become Haiti's president, what more do we know about him?
Yeah, so let's start there then. The 63-year-old man, Christian Emmanuel Sanon, he apparently was the one who recruited and organized this group of mercenaries, not only recruiting them, but also organizing them here on the island in the months leading up to this assassination. He apparently, according to authorities, wanted to, quote, capture the presidency. Exactly what that means, they didn't say. We don't know if he has legal representation. We don't know what he has officially been charged with, if anything, but that is basically what we know about him. Interestingly, another part of this is that my colleague Evan Perez in the United States yesterday reported last night that several of the suspects involved in this assassination were also directly connected to U.S. law enforcement agencies as informants, including at least one who worked with the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA actually confirming that. And as you saw in the piece, Becky, during this assassination, one of these suspects says DEA operation, DEA operation. The DEA acknowledged that. They say they're aware of it, but said no one involved in this assassination was working on behalf of the DEA.
So guys, this story gets real deep. So supposedly, one of the two Haitian Americans who actually lives in Florida, who has a United States American citizen, the guy named Joseph Vincent, he's actually a DEA, well, a former DEA. Yes, he's actually did some work on and off with the DEA. So that leads me to think that there's a lot of people that was decoyed in this operation. Because this guy, he must know a lot, but he's not saying nothing. Because if he did work for the DEA multiple times, he know the type of operations that they usually do. So this leads me to think that there's a lot more of this story that we don't know. Let's listen to the information that they have on this character.
Well, now we're learning one of the suspects in that killing may have had ties to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. CBS's Molalengi reports from Port-au-Prince.
Tonight, sources tell CBS News that a suspect in the assassination of Haiti's president was once an informant for the DEA, though they deny any involvement. Joseph Vincent, a Haitian American from South Florida, worked for the DEA on and off for years. The gunman claimed to be DEA agents during last Wednesday's attack, shooting President Moise 12 times.
So guys, just to make the story just a little bit more ludicrous, the president of Haiti was also tortured. They broke his arm and they gouged out his eyes. Why would they have to torture the president of Haiti if it was just a quick assassination, or if there was supposedly, was supposed to kidnap him or arrest him, so this new guy, Emmanuel, was supposed to be injected? I don't know how this was supposed to happen, but if they were supposed to capture him for this new guy to get in, why didn't it go as planned? Why did they have to torture him? Why did they have to twist his arm and gouge out his eyes? Guys, please pay attention. Let's try to follow the money. Something bigger is going on that we don't understand. It was more than assassination. And it seems like they also had a few decoys involved.
Times. Haitian officials are saying he was also tortured. An autopsy showed his arm broken and one eye gouged out.
We need a new leadership.
Haitian police say Christian Emmanuel Sanon, a failed businessman from Florida, hired the 26 Colombians and 2 Haitian Americans to carry out the attack, with his goal to take over as president. Haitian professor Michel Planchet told CBS News that Senon told him last month that he was on a mission to replace Moise, that Moise would be resigning soon.
So guys, I'm going to explain to you guys how deep this story goes. So one of the top leaders of securities who was supposed to be watching the president, one of those army men, he was also potentially, allegedly involved as well. We have a little bit of information that one of the guys who was supposed to be protecting Haiti's president, he actually flew to Colombia and back into various places as well, just before the assassination. Why did he have to go to Colombia a few times? So there's more revelations that's coming up with this Haitian assassination of the president. So guys, please stay tuned. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit more information on what I know about this new revelation of this guy who pretty much probably has something to do with the assassination of Haiti's president. And he was one of his soldiers.
Now, Dimitri Herard is someone that we need to pay close attention to. Dimitri Herard is the head of security of the Presidential Palace of Haiti, and information has come out that he traveled several times to Colombia. Remember, most of these hitmen or the people that they arrested, I don't know if they are decoys, if they were used to throw the plot off, but he traveled to several times. He traveled to Colombia and other countries leading up to the assassination of the president. Several times he made this trip, a trip that he has no other record of making any other time. So, in essence, this kind of looks like planning.
Well, alright guys, there you have it. Guys, everything that I'm saying, I have no proof of anything. People are just gathering information, and I am just pretty much putting all this information together so you guys can kind of get a clear view of all the things that I know and all the things that I understand. So guys, that's it for the video, guys. Please like and subscribe if you guys definitely want to see more of these videos. I'm going to continue giving you guys the top stories and worldly news. So guys, please like and subscribe. And go to my Instagram at Mark_Charming to see more content and a lot more content that I do. So peace and love.